Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at the fourth and final film in the Blood Money box set released by Arrow Video, which brings together four spaghetti westerns from four different Italian directors. And yeah, the fourth and final film is Matalo, also known as with Kill Him in brackets for some reason, I'm not entirely sure. It's from 1970, and it's directed by Cesare Canaveri, who I've not seen anything from before. It's a spaghetti western, but it's got elements of acid western in it as well. And yeah, it clocks in at 94 minutes long, although for some reason on the back of this it says 89 minutes. Not sure why there's a 5 minute difference, but yeah, it is 94 minutes long. And the only person I've seen anything from before of any significance is Claudia Gravy, who was in The Weapon, the Hour and The Motive, which is a really rather excellent giallo film. And yeah, a gang of cattle thieves rescue a criminal from the gallows and later rob a stagecoach loaded with gold. When they get the loot, he is betrayed and left dying in the middle of the desert. In the escape, they reach a mysterious ghost town where they perceive there is something strange about. So, yeah, there are large parts of this that feature no dialogue, has slack pacing, and little characterization, which unfortunately does not make this the most satisfying of watches. But thankfully, this does come together enough in its second half to make it worth the watch. The score is also great, the cast is solid, it has a good deal of atmosphere to it, the ghost town makes for a decent setting, and the second half is at least engrossing. But unfortunately, it does have a lot of annoying elements to it as well. Like I said, the lack of dialogue, it doesn't help the film at all. And then there is really some rather headache-inducing camera work, which is like spinning around and all sorts of other kinds of camera movement, which really does not, make me enjoy the film at all, as it does give me a headache, that kind of camera movement. It's not the first film to do that, the kind of shaky cam stuff that came about in the early 2000s also does that to me. But yeah, with this kind of older film, I wasn't expecting that kind of camera movement, and yeah, it is extremely jarring in that regard. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. And like I said, the lack of dialogue doesn't help make it the most engrossing effort. There's none of the characters you can really get behind, either because you don't know enough about them or they're just bad people in general. So that's a little bit of a thing. And then you're not really sure who's the lead character in this whatsoever. There is a character that eventually joins the rest of the group in the ghost town, who then becomes the apparent hero, but he's not set up in any way, really, which is a shame. And then he's got this whole gimmick of using boomerangs, which is not only really rather quite stupid, but it's not something that you'd ever see be effective in real life. It just, the only reason they are effective in the film is because it needs to be effective in the film to get rid of the bad guys. So yeah, a little bit of a downer, really a shame to quite frankly end the box set on a low point. Yeah, unfortunately, it is a 3.5 star out of 5 film for me, which is less than the previous film and significantly less than the first two films. But if we take this as an average, the films have averaged out at a better average than the Vengeance Trails box set, which was the predecessor to this Blood Money box set. So, yeah, but still, it's a nice enough looking film. The 2K restoration that it's had is really rather good looking. And yeah, got good choice of posters as well. I like both of them. And yeah, plenty of extras on this. You got a brand new introduction by journalist and critic Fabio Melelli. Got brand new audio commentary by critics Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. You got a Milanese story, a brand new in-depth interview with filmmaker David Pilucci, discussing the career of Matalo director Cesare Canaveri. Untold Icon, brand new in-depth appreciation of the soundtrack and its composer Gianni Ferrario, by musician and disc collector Lovely John, and theatrical trailer. So yeah, the composer did the previous film as well, and yeah, the score on this is pretty great. So one consistent thing throughout these films has been the scores, which have all been really rather good. And yeah, it's nice to see that they're appreciating those kind of efforts on these discs. So yeah, overall I am impressed by this box set. I'll tell you my order of the films that I rate them. So the first of which, my favourite, is Vengeance is Mine, and then $10,000 Blood Money. These both get 4.5 out of 5, but I think Vengeance is Mine just edges it out. Then we have A Find a Place to Die, which is still a really good effort, even if it isn't as good as the first two. And then Matalo, which is flawed, but still decent enough, and no worse than the worst two films in Vengeance Trails box set, which two of those in that also got 3.5 out of 5. So yeah, still fairly good run of films, to be honest. And yeah, the box set overall is excellent. But my big issue with this box set, I'm not sure if it was an issue with the previous box set, is the cases. For some reason, they are not as strong as I would have liked. It seems to be because there is no middle section to hold it in place. So as you can see, even though it's closed, it's still really rather quite weak in that middle section, and it doesn't take much effort for them to seem to degrade quite a fair bit. I mean, look at Matalo at the moment. Matalo is really rough. See, I didn't take any effort at all there to open it, so it's a shame that, and they do take a bit of go to close as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if this was an issue with the previous box set. Actually, let's take a look if that was the case. But yeah, the case is not being particularly strong is a little bit of an issue. Yeah, it was kind of the issue with the previous box set as well. Although these do feel a little bit, yeah, tougher to open. So yeah, it feels like the quality has slipped a little bit with these cases for some reason. These even feel a little bit heavier, to be honest, than these do. So yeah, not sure where the quality has gone in that regard, but that is a little bit of a shame. But still, overall, the quality is great. The box itself is really nice. Nice artwork. It's a solid box as well. And then, like I said, in my unboxing, you get a really of a nice booklet with it as well. Double-sided poster with two different versions, two different artworks on it. And yeah, at the end of the day, the 2K restorations of each individual film is also really rather good as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't find the Italian credits for the end of this, so they had to swap it in for English, and you can tell because the credits were wobbling and stuff like that. So that's the only flaw in terms of the actual quality of the films, in terms of how they're presented. But yeah, overall, a really rather excellent box set, and it's probably one of my favourites of the year so far. So yeah, if you've seen the Matalo, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But if you haven't, and you're into your kind of more out there kind of films, which I can respect Matalo for being, it's a bit more unique. It tries to go in different directions. It's just unfortunately not entirely successful at going in those different directions as far as I'm concerned. But if you're into that kind of film, I know acid westerns are quite popular. A lot of them did come out in the 70s to try and revitalise the genre. Then yeah, you may well enjoy that one. So yeah, but nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.